Up here.
Okay.
I made copies of what I'm going to say, and I'm just going to leave them up here for those that want them. My name is Pete Kelderhouse. I reside at 2113 Titus Avenue. What I want to first do is, my last official capacity as president of the library, I made these remarks, and they're in the minutes that Councilman Evans did not read. Good evening, and this is to my board. It is my hope that this new year is not a new beginning, but rather a continuance of what this board has accomplished over the past few years. We need to take some bold steps to see that the progress that we made over these years are not overshadowed by a wait-and-see mentality. This board has always placed its efforts on what is best for all Irondequoit residents and the staff of the library. We have never been told or directed by a supervisor or town board member on how we perform our constituted obligations to the town. The board, and it's my hope that as we go forward, they'll remain just that. However, having said that, it is so important that we have open lines of communication between boards. We should, as one voice, share our thoughts and work on our strengths while strengthening our weaknesses. To do this, our communication must be open and honest. We need to have a liaison from the town board and not necessarily a town board member. We as a board need to work with the town board to see if they will join us in asking for a volunteer to be that liaison. I said last month in this meeting and could not speak or counter any remarks. However, because of the rules of this town, I have that opportunity now. Madam Supervisor, I have no problem in accepting the fact that you have the right to make appointments to library boards or any other board. That is part of the political system. I accept it, and I have no concern. But I do have a concern of how it was done. 1, those members whose term was to expire did not receive the courtesy of a call, however, did receive a letter well after the fact, and that is documented. Secondly, those who were appointed did not receive notice of their appointment until notified of that appointment by the director of the library. That is documented. However, that's not the reason that I'm going to address this board this evening. Too many times over the past 14 months, accusations have been spoken by your administration, and especially Councilwoman Evans, that has been totally false. It is also to be noted that no one comes forward to defend either themselves or the board they represent. But I'm here, but not defending my actions over the past 5 years as a library trustee and as a president. For I'm proud of the accomplishments that we have made, but I'm rather here to defend the library board as a whole. Councilwoman Evans made outright false statements at the end of last month's board meeting, which was meant to demean the library trustees that were not reappointed and cast a shadow on those who remain. Councilwoman Evans, less than 2 weeks prior to the town board meeting, requested 6 months of minutes of the library board. Why only the last 6 months and not the complete works of the library board? If Councilwoman Evans was concerned about the Irondequoit Library and how the Board of Trustees arrived at their November 2006 recommendations, again, why just 6 months of minutes? Councilwoman Evans spoke that she did not know that the town board could have a liaison to the library board and that the library board did not want nor need a liaison. That's not the truth. Less than 90 days or so into 2006, the library board made a presentation to this board to update you on what we had been doing and a series of options. At that meeting, we stressed the need to keep an open and honest dialogue with this administration. Councilwoman Evans asked questions that evening, both at the presentation and in the closed meeting directly after adjournment. In the closed meetings, I mentioned the need to have a liaison to our board, as I had mentioned on other occasions. Councilwoman Evans was the only board member who asked questions in reference to the liaison. Those being when the board met and at what time. I would think that alone discredits any of her statements last month. Councilwoman Evans also stated that the Irondequoit Library Board minutes showed her that it would only take the newly trustees less than 6 months to get up to speed, and that the library board needed a new perspective. Councilwoman Evans evidently did not listen or read the full reports, so not listen to her supervisor when she made comments that our buildings are falling apart and we need to look at options presented. So I don't know what a new perspective is. Our library minutes that follows month that following month verifies, as does the tape on the board meeting. I'm sorry she didn't ask for all those minutes. By the way, no newly elected town board member attended any of the 14-plus library open board meetings since they have taken office, nor the 2 meetings held to discuss the last library presentation with our town residents. In our October presentation, 2006, we made a presentation, our full library board in attendance with our director, and gave what we thought was the best option based on all the facts we had gathered to consolidate into one main library. If it were to be part of a community center, we would readily be in favor of that also. We again stressed the need to have an open and honest dialogue with this administration. Councilwoman Evans also accused the library board of being underhanded in the revision of the bylaws that allowed for honorary non-voting members. Councilwoman Evans, Councilwoman Zeus mentioned that the library board is an independent board. She stated, "For all I know, you are part of this." Therefore, not in an underhand manner, but completely in open discussions, we decided to change our bylaws to allow for honorary non-voting members for input. We felt that a voting board of 7, which is the average in most town libraries, need not be increased, as proposed by our supervisor. Yes, even if that meant that dedicated volunteer trustees would not be appointed. Madam Supervisor, you and I met with a resident of this town who felt that it was in the best interest that you and I could work together to see that Irondequoit continues to prosper. In fact, you and I were scheduled to meet again the Thursday after last month's board meeting to discuss my possible reappointment. Prior to that, you told me that you needed time to speak to one of your council members that was not in favor of my appointment. However, the planned comments from Councilwoman Evans, to which I believe you had full knowledge of, circumvented that meeting. The last appointment for the vacant library trustee position was not on the agenda, yet a motion made by Council William Bello to appoint someone other than me was seconded and passed by a 3-2 vote. Does this represent what this administration means by honest dialogue? In conclusion, your board has appointed 3 qualified members to the library board. We have, I'm going to add a little bit, we had interviewed those 3 prior to it, and they are qualified people. We have no problem whatsoever with that. However, I believe we have more respect and gratitude to at least 2 of our trustees. Stephanie Squiccerini, a volunteer with a master's degree in library science, and Susan McGee, past president and co-founder of the Irondequoit Library Foundation. I have decided not to be an honorary member for various reasons, the least being Councilwoman Evans' misinformed statements. I did offer any input that's needed as the board goes forward. Secondly, as the co-founder of the Irondequoit Library Foundation and a major contributor, I've asked to serve on that board. In that way, I can work to raise the necessary funds once a decision from this board is made for any and all library plans. It is my hope that the residents of this town know that each and every trustee of the library board over the past 5 years has interest in the board, as well as library staff, which gives you the quality of service that, despite the disarray of our buildings, they're entitled to. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter.